Hey, this is Mr. Reyes here to show you that math is a skill that you can learn. So, seeing a problem like this, we can use our algebra skills just like we did before, and we can say, okay, x is getting divided by 8. What's the opposite of dividing? It's multiplying. So we need to multiply x by 8 to get it all alone on one side. And if we're going to do it on the right side, we need to do that on the left as well. Okay, so using that, now we see you divide it by 8 and then multiply it by 8. Well, that undoes it. So it's the opposite operation. It cancels out. So we can just think of this x as being alone, which is good. But now we have to simplify this. And I know some of you don't really like multiplying fractions, but it's pretty straightforward. We just think 8 times 3, which is going to give us 24. 24, and then 1 times 2, because those are the bottom, those are the denominators. That gives us 2. And that, if we think about simplifying it, it is going to give us 12. And that's our answer. 12 equals x, or x equals 12. Whichever way you would like to write it, they are the same. Okay, and now, if you don't like doing that method, here's the other method. And that is to say, it's called cross multiply and divide. And what that means is exactly what it sounds like. We are going to take the two numbers that are furthest away from each other, 3 and the 8, and we cross multiply. We multiply them together. I'll draw a little star to show you that we're doing that. And that gives us 24. And then now you take that number and you need to divide it by the number that's still there. So you only have x and a number that haven't been used yet. So you use the number that is not x. And you divide that. 24 divided by 2 is 12. And you say 12 equals x, or x equals 12. So those are two methods. If you didn't get it, rewind, watch again. Okay, now using that as another example, we're going to cross multiply and divide here. So the two numbers that are furthest away from each other, multiply them together. 5 times 6, that gives us 30. It's going to be a really small 30, little tiny 30. And 30 divided by the number that's still left, that's 2. So you get 30 divided by 2 is 15 equals x, or x equals 15. Now another question would be here. Now, when you see a question like this where there is a fraction that can be simplified, you really should simplify it. So instead of saying 9/6, we can divide both those by 3 and say 3 halves. Okay. And that is going to make our life a lot easier as we do this. So we cross multiply the two numbers that are furthest from each other. That would be the 2 and the 4. We're going to multiply those together. And we say that makes 8. And then we have to divide that. Cross multiply and divide. You should hear that in your head every day, every night. You should fall asleep. Cross multiply and divide. Cross multiply and divide. So now we divide that. 8 divided by 3. Now that's a tricky one. I will just write it out. You can say that it is 2.6 continuing. I'll say 6, 7. Or you could also say that it is x equals 2 and 2/3.